All right, Math 10. So I did not put up on my whiteboard all of the notes. You need to use that diagram that I uploaded for you guys with the parallelogram, rectangle, rhombus, square. You have to know the properties in order to do the problems that I assigned this week. So I'm going to do some examples. This is the first one, and show you how to use the properties. So for this example, it says in parallelogram ABCD, angle A is 6x minus 3, angle C is 5x plus 17, and I want you to find angle B. So as you move forward through these problems, the first thing that you need to do, first and foremost, before you even utilize any of the given information, is determine what you're working with. All right, always determine what you're working with, whether it's a parallelogram, a rectangle, a rhombus, a square. So in this particular case, you know you have a parallelogram. So then you want to go to the chart that I gave you and look at all of the properties of parallelograms. The next thing that you want to do is identify what the given information revolves around. So if you've looked at some of those properties, within those properties, I tell you information about lengths of sides, lengths of diagonals, how certain angles relate. So I tell you angle A is 6x minus 3, so I would fill in the picture. Angle C is 5x plus 17. So one of the very first things you always do is fill in the picture and then ask yourself, what is the relationship between the items that have been given? So I gave you a pair of angles, and you can clearly identify that they're opposite angles. So when you look at the properties, the list of properties, right away you should be focusing on the properties that only deal with angles. Not the sides, not the diagonals, just the angles. So since I gave you opposite angles, the property says opposite angles are congruent. And congruent, as you know, is a fancy way of saying equal. So you set up your algebra equation by setting those two quantities equal. So 6x minus 3 is equal to 5x plus 17. Now, I have every bit of confidence that you guys can solve an equation. So I subtract 5x from both sides, add 3 to both sides, and I get x equals 20. That's not what I asked for. That's just the first step. I asked you to find the measure of angle B. So in order to find angle B, you have to either find angle A or C first. So if we plug 20 back in for angle A, 6 times 20 is 120, minus 3 is 117 degrees. So angle A is 117 degrees. I want you to tell me what angle B is. So if you go back to the properties for parallelograms, there's another property that refers to consecutive angles. Opposite angles are congruent, but consecutive angles are supplementary. So that means in order to find the measure of angle B, A and B add up to 180. So all you have to do is 180 minus 117, and that will give you angle B, which is 63 degrees. So angle B equals 63 degrees. There's your final answer. So that's how you want to use the properties. First, figure out which figure you're working with. What information is given? Does it deal with lengths or angle measures? And then apply the property that corresponds to the given information and create your equations to solve.